lying down on your backs, on your bellies, and a little bit in tabletop. So going to be fairly effortless for most of the class. We're just going to be taking it really slow, breathing, relaxing deeply into stretches. And we're going to try and do a full body stretch. So just easing into your muscles one by one, and just trying to get a little bit of recovery, especially for those who've been training really hard. I think everybody's mics are muted. Julie, if you can mute your mic, please. And then to start, bring your left leg into your left heel into your groin, right leg in front. If you need to sit on a cushion to be comfortable, then please grab a cushion now. I'd recommend having a cushion and a strap nearby. If you want to have a small cushion to sit on and a big cushion to fold over to relax onto, that's also an option, but it's not needed. But just especially if you're very tight in your lower back and hamstrings, then it's useful to have a cushion to sit on. And placing your hands lightly onto your knees, palms facing up or down. Bring your bodies up nice and tall, roll the shoulders back, heads up nice and straight, and softly close your eyes. Just start bringing your awareness to your body and to your breath, and shutting off all the distractions, everything else that's pulling your mind, all the thoughts that keep popping into your head. Just acknowledge them and send them away. Just bringing your attention back to your breath. Remember to breathe through your nose. If you want to use the Ujjayi breath, which is when you just make a slight closing in the back of your throat, so that when you exhale, it makes a slight hissing noise in the back of your throat, but you're still breathing through your nose. But it just deepens the breath and helps you to use the breath for more energy in your postures. And then softly opening your eyes. We're going to sweep the arms out to the side, bringing them up tall above your head, looking up into your palms, stretching out the back of the neck as you look into your hands. And exhale, taking your hands down, fingertips towards the mat. Inhale, turning the fingertips, palms up, taking the fingertips back up again, and looking up into your hands. And exhale, looking down, tucking the chin in, fingertips towards the mat. One more time, reaching up tall, looking up into your hands. And this time exhaling as you twist over to the right side. Just looking back over that right shoulder, staying here for 2 breaths. And inhale, coming back up to center. Exhale, twisting over to the left side, looking over the left shoulder, right hand onto the left knee. And back up to center, reaching tall. And folding forward, taking your body towards the floor, walking your hands as far away from you as you can, little by little, inching those fingertips away from you. And walking your hands over to the left side. Stretching into the right side of the torso and into the right glute. Keeping your body as low as you can, folded over that left knee. And then walking your hands back through center as you inhale and over to the right side as you exhale. And walking your hands back to center, inhaling and walking them back towards you, sitting up nice and tall. Stretching your legs out, giving them a little shake if you want to, and then bringing your right heel in and then the left heel. Placing your hands palms of your hands onto your knees. And we're going to just start rolling out the back. So rolling back onto the back of your sit bones, taking your weight behind you, rounding into that back, using the grip on your knees just to hold your bodies, to prevent you from falling backwards. And then we're going to inhale, coming forward with the chest, opening up the chest, looking up towards the ceiling. And exhale, rounding into the back, rolling over the sit bones, rounding the spine out, tucking the chin. Inhale, coming forward, looking up, opening the chest. And exhale, rounding the spine. And inhale, coming to neutral. Now we're going to walk the hands again away from us, little by little, taking the bodies down. And then exhale as you walk your hands over to the right side. Feeling a deep stretch now on the left side of the torso and into that left glute. Inhale, walking your hands back through center, and exhale, take them over to the left. Stretching into the right side of the torso. And walking them back to center. Stretching forward for one last exhale, and inhale, walking them back towards you. We're going to roll up onto the knees. And sitting your buttocks back onto your heels. So you've got your tops of the toes are flat on the mat, toenails pressing into the mat. And we're going to start with opening up the shoulders. So just resting your hands lightly onto your thighs. We're going to start rolling the shoulders up towards the ears, and then back and down, and then forward, up towards the ears, and back and down. Keeping those bellies tucked in as you do this. And one more time, forward, up, back, and down. And then changing the direction, taking them back, opening up the chest, reaching them up towards your ears, forward and down, back, up towards the ears, forward and down. And one more time, opening up the chest, for up and forward and down. Now reaching your arms out to the side. You're going to turn the palms to face behind you, so your thumbs are facing down. And then taking your hands behind your back, interlacing your fingers behind you, and really stretching back, lifting those arms as high as you can. So you're going to stay sitting upright, but just lifting your arms up behind you, so that you're really opening up the chest. If this is enough for you, you can stay in this position with the arms. Otherwise, if you'd like to turn your palms to face outwards, so it opens up the arms a little more, opens the chest a little more. And then releasing the clasp of the hands. Sitting comfortably onto the knees again. Rolling a little forward onto the knees, we're going to tuck the toes under. So tucking the toes, we're going to now stretch into the soles of the feet. So make sure all 10 toes are facing forward, even if you have to manually move your, sometimes the little toes don't want to go forward, they get stuck facing backwards. So make sure all 10 toes are facing forwards, and then lower your buttocks down onto your heels. And just sitting up nice and tall, you should feel a good stretch into the soles of your feet. If it's too much for you and you need to come out of it, just lift your body and go ease back into it. I'm going to try and hold that for a few breaths. Using every exhale just to release a little further. If it's really tight and really painful, then come out of it and go back in. And then lifting up, flattening the tops of the toes back onto the mat. And now we're going to lift the shins up. So placing your hands onto the mat, we're going to lift the shins. You can walk your hands back behind you if you like as well. So now stretching into the tops of the mat. So wherever your hand, you need to have your hands, it's going to depend on your flexibility, how high you can lift your knees. If you can't lift them very high, then keep your hands sort of in line with your knees. Otherwise, if you'd like to take your hands back, you can take your weight behind you, lifting the knees up off the mat, stretching now into the tops of the feet. Again, if it becomes too much and you need to release it, just lower those knees down and come back into it. And release. Placing your hands down on the mat in front of you and coming onto hands and knees in tabletop position. So placing the tops of your feet flat on the mat. If you'd like a bit more of a challenge, you're welcome to do this exercise in downward facing dog, but just for the sake of keeping it more effortless, I'm going to be demonstrating in tabletop. So lifting your right leg up and out to the side and stretching it back, keeping the knee bent, stretching the leg back and bringing it in towards your forehead and then out to the side, making big hip rotations, opening out that hip, big circles, big exaggerated movements. You want to really feel the maximum of every position that you're going through in this big circle. So stretching to the max as you open out your hip. And then changing direction, so sending it out behind you and bringing it in on the side. Really opening it out. Keep making those circles as big as you can. And one last time. And placing the knee down. Now we're going to do the same on the left side. So opening that out to the side and to the back. And bringing it in towards your forehead and out to the side and to the back. Bringing it in. Again, exaggerating the motion as much as possible, feeling every muscle that's opening, that's stretching. Taking it to the max as you go. And changing directions. And last time, placing the knees down and stretching back, toes flat onto the mat, stretching back into child's pose, placing your head down onto the mat, and if you'd like to take your arms down alongside your body, you can do so.
Your knees should be about a fist or 2 fist widths apart. So this is just a regular child's pose, not a wide knee child's pose.
And just relaxing into it. And lifting your bodies up. Placing the hands down on the floor in front of you and taking your knees out wide now. So you're taking it to the outside edges of your mat, as wide as you can, and your big toes are just touching. And now we're going to come forward again, walking your hands forward, stretching into the fingertips. Trying to keep that tailbone reaching back towards your heels as much as possible. If it pops up off your heels, it's not a problem. But just try and keep it as far down as you can. And looking forward. Opening up into the chest. If you're able to sink your chin all the way down onto the mat, then you can do so. Otherwise, if this is very uncomfortable and putting a lot of strain on your neck, then you can place your forehead onto the mat. Inhale, lifting the body just slightly, keeping the right hand where it is, taking your left hand and sliding it underneath your right arm. So you're placing your left outside of the shoulder onto the floor and placing your left cheek onto the floor. Be aware of how your body feels. Every now and then, just scan through your body. Notice where there's tension. Notice what parts of your body are catching and preventing you from sinking deeper. Just notice where you feel it. And then inhale, bringing that arm back, stretching it in front of you again. And lifting your right hand, stretching that underneath your left arm, palm faces up on the right hand, and lowering your right shoulder and right cheek down onto the mat. And lifting back up, stretching your right hand out in front of you. And coming back up onto all fours, and now bringing your knees together. So you're, sorry, not together, they're about 2 fist widths apart, and your shins are parallel to one another. So about 2 fist widths between your feet as well. And now we're going to walk our hands forward, keeping the hips above the knees. So you're going to go into puppy pose. Again, if you can place your chin down on the mat, you can do so, but if that's too much strain in your neck, just place your forehead down on the mat. And pushing the tops of your feet, the toenails, into the mat. This opens up the chest, opens the shoulders. And then lifting your head slightly so you can take your left hand, sliding it under the right armpit again, lowering your left shoulder and left cheek down onto the mat, looking under your right arm. And slowing down the breath, keeping the breath nice and steady through the nose. bringing that hand back, placing it in front of you again, and this time lifting your right hand and sliding it palm facing up, down through the arm, under the armpit, placing your right arm and right cheek onto the mat. And then bringing that arm back, stretching it in front of you. One last stretch into puppy pose, trying to place the chin onto the mat, looking forward, and then walking your hands back towards you. Coming up tall on your knees. You're going to take the left leg and step it forward, coming into a low lunge, placing your hands on either side of your left foot. Making sure your left knee is straight above your left ankle. You don't want it to be pushing over the ankle. And keeping that right top of the foot on the mat. Stretching into your right hip flexor. So you're taking it as far forward as you can. If you need to walk your toes a little forward or a little back on your left foot, then do so just to increase that stretch. Coming up onto your fingertips, we're going to walk your hands back as you straighten into the left knee, lifting the left toes off the mat, flexing that foot towards you and straightening the left knee. If it's too much for you to straighten it and you need to keep a micro bend in the knee, then you can do so. But otherwise, the intention is to get it as straight as you possibly can. And then once that leg is straight, maybe you can lower your body down over towards your shin. So your forehead's actually looking towards, facing towards your toes. You don't want to round into the spine like this. You want to try and keep your back flat. And then bending into that knee again, placing the sole of the foot back on the mat. You're going to take both hands to the inside of your left foot now. Just heel toe your left foot a little further out, so you're taking it towards the outer edge of the mat and bringing your body onto the inside of your left knee. And maybe this is enough for you. Maybe you can lower yourself down onto your elbows on the inside of your left knee. Otherwise, if you can't go onto your elbows, just bend into your elbows as much as you can. Trying to keep your left knee above your left ankle, so you don't want it popping out too much to the side, and make sure the sole of the left foot stays firmly planted on the mat. So you don't want your foot lifting. Just opening that hip out. You should still feel it in the right hip flexor as well, so it's really opening up your hips. And if your arms are bent, then coming back up onto your hands, maybe coming onto your fingertips, and taking your body weight back, bringing that left knee back next to the right. Sitting up tall for a moment, just stretching it out, and then stepping your right foot forward. Taking it as far as is good for you, so that your right knee sits directly above your right ankle, and stretching into that left hip flexor. then straightening into your right leg, lifting the right toes up off the mat, flexing those toes up towards you, and trying to get the right leg straight. Once that leg is straight, you can start lowering your body little by little towards your leg while keeping your back as flat as you can. Don't collapse your neck and your head down in order to try and get your head to your shins. That's not the goal here at all. You want to try and keep the back flat so your head is actually facing over the tops of your toes. You should be feeling this into the right hamstring, possibly even the right calf. If you pull up on those toes of the right foot, you might notice you feel it more into the calf. And then walking your body forward again, placing the foot onto the mat, taking both hands to the inside of the right foot, and then heel toeing your foot towards the outside, the right side of the mat. Making sure your foot is straight again, parallel to the edge of the mat, and taking your body weight on the inside of your right leg. If this is enough for you, then you can stay here, otherwise bending down onto your elbows, onto your forearms, on the inside of that right leg. Otherwise, just staying on your palms of your hands and bending your elbows as much as you can go. Enough that you can feel it opening up into your right hip. Making sure you try to keep the right knee above the right ankle and you're not rolling onto the outside of the right foot. Feeling it into the left hip flexor and stretching into the right adductor and groin. And then bringing your bodies up tall again and bringing the knee back next to the left and lowering your hips down onto the heels for child's pose. Walking your hands forward and rolling your feet out in front of you to Dandasana or staff pose, so legs stretched out straight ahead of you. You're going to just sit in this posture for a moment, placing your hands next to your hips. Maybe if you've got short arms, you need to come up onto your fingertips and just pressing into those fingertips or the palms of your hands to push your body as upright as possible without pulling the shoulders up into the ears. You just want the body nice and tall and relaxed. Your legs are active, so your quads are tight, pulling those kneecaps up. Your calves are tight, your feet are pointing, your toes pointing straight up towards the ceiling. The muscles in your legs are all being used, they're all active. And keeping that belly in. And on your next exhale, you're going to start walking your hands towards your feet. If you'd like to grab a big cushion and put it in front of you on your legs so that you can just flop over the cushion, you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, just reaching your hands towards your feet. If you can't reach your feet, just grab onto your shins or your ankles. Or if you'd like to use a strap to help pull you deeper into the stretch, then you can do so. Otherwise, just gently, effortlessly folding forward. Trying to keep your back as flat as you can. Hinging from the hips. And making sure you don't collapse into your neck. Keeping a straight line through your whole spine from the top of your head all the way down to the tailbone. keeping that as straight as possible. Every exhale, just relax your body a little deeper. Maybe you'll find you can fold a little further into it. Focusing on releasing the muscles that are tight, that are preventing you from going further. So if it's your hamstrings that are tight, just try and consciously relax them. Let them go. And then as you inhale, walk your hands back towards your body, sitting up tall. Bending the knees, bringing the soles of the feet together. You can pull them right into your groin if you can. Otherwise, if that's not possible for you, if this is the best you can manage, then that's also perfectly fine. Wherever it works for you. As long as you've got the soles of your feet together, you can wrap your hands around them. Otherwise, you can use a strap. And firstly, sitting up nice and tall. Your fingers are interlaced underneath your feet. Using your arms to really puff your chest out. Open up the chest, looking up. Straightening out that back as much as you can. And then we're going to fold forward. Taking your thumbs, placing them inside your feet, and opening out the soles of your feet like the pages of a book. And then we're going to fold forward, resting the elbows onto the shins or onto the calves or onto the thighs. And using your elbows just to push your knees a little deeper towards the mat. Again, if you want to use a big cushion here on top of your legs that your body can just relax onto, if you have a big enough cushion. Otherwise, just letting your body gently float towards your feet. Trying to get those knees towards the mat. On your next inhale, coming up to center. Stretching your legs out in front of you. Giving them a shake if they need it. Maybe twisting, rolling your ankles. And then taking your left leg, bringing it over the top of your right leg. If your legs are very tight, you can keep your right leg straight. Otherwise, if you'd like to bring that in, you can sit in this position. Trying to get both sit bones onto the mat, and then pulling that left knee in towards your chest. We're going to start with twisting towards the knee, so taking your right arm, wrapping it around your left leg, and looking over your left shoulder, using the left hand on the floor behind you to help push your body straight up so that you don't collapse into your spine. Looking over the left shoulder. You should feel the stretch into the outside of your left glutes. Possibly the outside of your left thigh as well. With your inhales, notice areas of tension, and with your exhales, try to release them. And inhale, coming to center, keeping your legs as they are. Now wrapping your left arm around your left knee, placing your right hand behind you and twisting over to look over your right shoulder. And releasing the twist, coming back to center, releasing your legs. Now bringing your right foot over the top of your left thigh, placing the sole of the foot firmly onto the mat. If this is enough for you, you can stay here with this leg straight, otherwise bending your left leg in. Trying to get your weight back onto both sit bones, having both sit bones pushing onto the floor. Bringing that knee into the chest as much as you can. Maybe you'll already notice a difference between your left and your right side. Very often the one side's much tighter than the other. And then wrapping the left arm around your right knee, placing your right hand on the floor behind you to push your body upright as you twist over to the right, looking over that right shoulder. Releasing the twist, coming back through center and keeping your legs as they are, twisting over to the left side, placing your left hand behind you to keep your body up tall and looking over the left shoulder. Coming back to center, releasing the legs, stretching them out in front of you, and then taking them out wide. Opening them as wide as you can. Maybe if you can lift your sit bones up off the mat and lower them again, you'll find that you can tilt your pelvis a little further forward by doing that, giving you the hinge that you need in your hips to come forward. Your feet are pointing straight up, toes pointing towards the ceiling. Your legs are active. If you need to sit on a cushion, grab one. And then walking your hands as far forward as what you can go. Maybe that's sitting upright is enough of a challenge for you. If that's the case, then stay there. Otherwise, lowering your body little by little towards the mat. With your inhales, notice where there is tension. Notice which muscles are preventing you from going further. And as you exhale, try to release those muscles, letting them go, and allowing your body to release a little deeper into the posture. towards you. Sitting up tall. Bringing your legs in and rolling over onto your back. Bringing your knees into your chest, hugging them in tight. And if you'd like to gently rock from side to side, massaging your spine. Otherwise, just lie still in the posture. And taking your left foot and placing it above the right knee. Bringing that right knee in and either clasping your hands behind the back of your right thigh, or if you're able to reach the front of your right shin, you can do so. And pulling that right knee in towards you, and in doing so, you're bringing that left leg in, stretching into the left glutes. Trying to keep your full spine onto the mat, making sure your tailbone isn't rounding up off the mat. You don't want the tailbone lifting. Making sure both sides of the back of your pelvis are pushing into the mat. So you don't want to be rolling over to one side or the other side. Just gently pulling that leg in towards your chest. Releasing the grip of your hands, keeping your legs as they are, but placing your right foot down onto the mat, keeping the knees bent, and taking your arms out perpendicular to your body. We're going to let that left foot rock over towards the mat. So you're rolling onto the outside of your right foot, the left foot plants down onto the mat on your right side, and then maybe twisting the left knee towards your right arm. Maybe using your right hand onto that knee to push it a little deeper, and gazing over your left shoulder towards your left hand. Going into a nice deep spinal twist. Releasing the hands back out to the sides and rolling back up. So you've still got your left leg crossed over your right. Now you're going to take it to a deeper cross so that your thighs are completely in contact with one another. And you're going to reach up, and if you can grab onto the outside of your feet, then grab your feet. Otherwise, just grabbing onto your shins or your knees or wherever you can reach. But preferably opposite hands to ankles or to outsides of the feet. And then lower your head and shoulders back down to the mat. Pulling those feet in towards you, or pulling the knees in towards you, wherever it is that you can reach. You're feeling this into the outside of your thighs. Just try and relax them as you exhale, letting go of that tension. Making sure the tailbone is pushing down into the mat and your pelvis is squarely on the mat, left and right side evenly pushing down. And then grip of your hands and uncrossing your legs, giving them a shake, maybe placing your feet onto the mat and shaking your legs out. And then we're going to change the cross of the leg, bringing the right leg over the top of the left knee and reaching up, grabbing either behind the left thigh or around the left shin. Interlacing your fingers, lowering your head and shoulders back down onto the mat and pulling that left knee in towards you. Stretching into your right glute. Again, making sure your tailbone stays firmly planted on the mat. And your pelvis is square, you're not rolling over to one side. Keeping the belly tucked in, which pushes your lumbar spine into the mat. Releasing the bind of your hands, placing the left sole of the foot onto the mat, keeping your knees bent, and then extending your arms out perpendicular to your body, rolling your legs over to the left side, placing the right sole of the foot onto the mat. You rocked onto the outside of the left foot, and then twisting, maybe bringing that right leg over towards your left hand, using your left hand to push it a little deeper down and looking over your right shoulder towards your right hands. Releasing your hands, bringing your knees back to center. And now increasing the cross of your legs so that your right thigh is completely over the left thigh. And now either grabbing onto your knees or your shins, or if you can reach the outsides of your feet, and bringing those into your chest. Lowering your shoulders and your head back down onto the mat. And pulling the knees in towards your chest. Noticing where there's tension, noticing what muscles are locking and preventing you from going any further. And with your exhales, just releasing, letting go. Letting go of the feet, releasing those legs, and placing your soles of the feet on the floor. If you want to stretch your legs out, just to get blood flowing back, you can do so, and then bring them back into your chest. Effortlessly this time, we're not using our hands to pull into the knees. You're going to take your left hand and place it onto the top of your right knee. So using your left hand to pull your right knee into your chest, taking your right hand and reaching around below you to grab onto the left foot. Lowering that left foot towards the mat, lowering the left knee towards the mat, keeping your right knee pulling into your chest and lowering your shoulders and your head back onto the mat. Now you want to keep pulling that left
foot towards you, stretching deeply into the quad of your left leg. The more you can lower your left knee towards the mat, the deeper you'll be able to stretch into the quad. Maybe pulling your foot closer towards you. And trying to keep your back still pushing squarely into the mat. Maybe you've noticed your lumbar spine has lifted off the mat, creating a little arch underneath this lower part of your back. If that's the case, then just wiggle a little bit to try and get your back flat on the mat again. Tucking the belly in to push the spine into the mat. And then releasing your hands, bringing both knees back into the chest. Now taking your right hand, placing that onto your left knee, lowering the left leg slightly and bending it so you can reach to your right foot with your left hand, placing that right foot down onto the mat and lowering your right knee towards the mat, pulling the foot in towards you with your left hand, using your right hand still on to bring your left knee in towards your chest. Opening up into that right quad. Remember to keep your spine pushing evenly into the mat. If you find your lumbar spine is lifting, then maybe just pull back a little from the stretch. And try and ease into it again without lifting your spine. Lowering that right knee towards the mat, stretching into the right calf, the right quad. And then releasing your hands, bringing your knees into your chest once more. And extending your legs towards the outside edges of the mat. Lying down onto your back. Placing your arms down beside you, about 20 or 30 degrees to your body, palms facing upwards. Giving your body a little shake. Ironing out any creases and kinks that might still be there, just wiggling it until it feels comfortable, settling it into Shavasana. Oh, excuse me. Coming into your final resting pose, letting go of any tension that's still remaining in your body. Making sure everything is just relaxed. Your feet are gently flopped out to the side. Your calves are relaxed. Your knees, your thighs, your pelvis is completely relaxed. Your lumbar spine completely relaxed, melting into the mat. Thoracic and cervical spine relaxing into the mat. Your shoulders, letting them just melt down. Releasing all the tension in your shoulders. Your upper arms, your elbows, your forearms. And your hands, letting them all just melt into the mat. You should have a natural curl in your fingers. Just let that be. And then relaxing into the neck. Letting the head Melt into the mat. When your body is completely relaxed, bring your awareness back to your breath. Noticing the rise and fall of your belly and your chest with every inhale and exhale. And slowly starting to bring movement back into your body. Start with wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers. You're opening and closing your fingers and your toes. And then bringing your feet together, stretching into those feet, pointing the toes away from you. Bringing your arms up over the top of your head along the mat. Stretching into the tips of the fingers, stretching that whole body from the tips of the fingers to the tips of the toes, and relaxing as you bring your knees one by one into your chest, wrapping your arms around your knees, and gently rocking over onto one side, using an arm underneath your head as a pillow. Lying in the fetal position on your side. And when you're ready, extending your top leg, using your top arm to push you back up, and come into seated once more. Keeping your body soft without bringing any tension back into your body. Sitting up nice and tall. Keeping your eyes closed. Following your breath once more. And slowly blinking your eyes open. Namaste.